Yeah, this is Thunder in the spirit of Geronimo and Crazy Horse. Thought I'd just talk off the top of my head today. I thought a good topic would be belief systems and reality. Speaking from a purely shamanistic point of view, recently I got into a little, what I would call, or what the Old West term would be a dust up. A dust up. And it had to do with people basically buying into events or propaganda or whatever that's surrounding us. And I get a little I don't know, disappointed sometimes when people buy into things, and because I see things differently. I see things as belief systems, and I know what belief systems are. They're nothing. Or I see things beyond. I see things beyond belief systems. I see things beyond reality. And when you live in a state of mind like that, when you lower your frequency back down here to this shit that's going on, I don't know. It's you see, it's a big trap in a game. You can really get involved in buying into a certain belief system or a certain event or something on the world stage, let's put it that way. Something on the world stage, you can really buy into it, and it can really be a detriment to your evolving as a spiritual being. Let's put it that way. A detriment to you evolving as a spiritual being. So if you buy into some belief system that's going to cripple you in some way, or hinder you in some way into buying or into being, into evolving, Thunder sees that. And I also see it for myself, because even if I say I object to people buying into certain belief systems, then that almost means that I have a belief system too, and I do. And we all do. And so that's why we get into what I call dust-ups. It's the monsters of belief systems arguing. Or people form belief systems as they go through life. It's happening every minute. I see things like people will be one way one minute and not believe in something, and then in the next minute they're buying into it, or they're getting paranoid, or I see it all over the place, man. I see it myself. And so we have to realize what this is. Okay, it's preconditioning. It's being conditioned since birth. And so, see, when that happens, we have all these different sides to us. Okay, we have a million different sides. We think, oh, that's one side of me, and here's another side, like there's only two sides or something. No, when you go through life and you are exposed to all these different events and circumstances and people and parents and school systems and cops and governments and all this stuff, religion, it can be all rather confusing, let's put it that way. It can be confusing, and you get into this thing where Uh, One set of belief systems that you may have picked up along the way in this constant growth of exchange. I mean, exchanging one belief system for another. Bear with me. My point is, it creates a million sides to yourself. And they all come out at different times, and they're all like the good wolf and the bad wolf, or the black wolf and the white wolf, except there's a bunch of wolves. There's a whole friggin' pack of them. And they're all in there in what we call the subconscious mind. And but that subconscious mind is a trick, okay? It's a storage place that benefits us in one way and is a big friggin' hindrance in another. Okay? And so you have to realize the hindrance side, You have to get beyond belief systems, is what I'm saying here, and you have to get beyond reality. Because reality is nothing more than kind of like this stuff you see, virtual realities and holographic 3D and virtual games, all this stuff you see that kids play with and everything, virtual realities that look really, really real, and they got guys with guns and everything, right? And they kill people and they chase people and they run down alleys and jump here and there and over a fence and all that stuff. That is just exactly how life is. It's a game. It's like a computer video game, and you're in it. You're in it. Only you're really in it. But when you go into that game that you play with, you're in it too. Because it's in it within it, okay? And so here we are, tooling around on the planet, baby. And this planet is part of this reality, okay, which is a dimensional thing, which this could all be an illusion. How can you not look at the stars in the sky and get sucked right into that and not realize it's a three-dimensional holographic hallucination, illusion, experience? That's what a shaman sees, okay? A shaman sees himself or herself floating around in a field of energy, in an etheric field of energy, with all kinds of things floating around constantly. They could look like different animals or snakes or dark energy, light energy. It's constantly flowing around us, and we, in our physical self, can't transcend that physical self enough into the spiritual self unless you take a hallucinogen, okay, or you eat some peyote, or you take some mescaline, or you have a psychedelic, religious, sacred psychedelic experience. You don't get this just through meditation. You can get it through meditation, but it takes a long time, okay? And you can facilitate meditation with this experience. And that's why some of the Huichol Indians and a lot of different Indians take peyote to put them in an altered state of consciousness. And really, when I say altered, it's expanded, not altered. It's an expanded state of consciousness. It's an enlightened state of consciousness through a plant, okay, the spirit of the plant. And a lot of people have experienced this, myself included, and many times. And so you see visions, you have visions, you feel things that other people don't feel, you transcend the physical self, and you talk to the master spirit, okay? I'll say it that way, the master spirit. And you honor the master spirit, okay? And that master can take forms here in this reality, which isn't really a reality. Remember that. That's why when things pop up in this so-called reality, okay, it's coming through your consciousness and you're popping it up, okay? You're popping it up. A good deal of the time you just don't realize that you're part of that ascended master concept, you know. Ascended master or shaman or yogi. You're part of that. You are that. And so we walk around in this physical reality, and which is really a duality in the reality, the delusion and the illusion, as I always say. The delusion and the illusion. So people are deluded. Okay. That's why the world's in the condition that it's in, is that people, first they buy into the belief system and they form their belief systems, and their belief systems are changing and morphing all the time. So they're really like into that. They're into that, okay? But they don't, the point I'm trying to make here is that they don't realize that that isn't them. You have to be in touch with, you have to feel every being on the planet, almost. And I do. Sometimes I'll go into these experiences where not only will I hear a bunch of different voices happening all at once, but I'll feel all kinds of different people, and they will just like become one with me, and I will become one with them, and I will go through like 100 of them in maybe 30 seconds or 200. I'll feel them all. I'll feel all the energy of the universe. Shamans do that. And so bear with me here. We become one with all that is in our environment, in our reality, in this cosmic dimension here. We become one with everything, and we realize that we are everybody and everybody is us, okay? But we're beyond that too. We're into ascended mastership. So it would be like, okay, the whole thing with Yeshua and that whole trip is a huge metaphor too, because it would be like ascending and descending, okay? So you ascend and then you descend. You ascend and then you descend. Do you get this, people? So when you ascend, you get into that mastership or that master state of mind, and you become master, okay? You become grandfather. You become the Jade Emperor, okay? You become all that is, all that ever will be. You become the Alpha and the Omega, you know. You become that. You slip into it. When you have a experience or a vision or see beyond belief systems and even beyond this mortal shell that we carry around with us, which really isn't us. Boy, we sure get attached to it sometimes, don't we? And we get attached to really dumb, stupid, ignorant belief systems within all this soup that I'm talking about here. Within all that soup, we're swimming around in this soup, and we bear with me. We're it's a soup of belief systems, and it's so much lower than where we are as an ascended being. So we can sit here all day and we can talk about racism and spirituality and everything that's going on in the planet, and what we perceive as maybe a threat to us or something we fear. Where does that fear come from? Where does it come from? Well, it comes from these belief systems. Because belief systems are this jumble, mumble, rumble, monkey mind shit going on in your subconscious. Need to break that shit up. Break it up. Break it up, let all the thoughts flow like water. Mu Shin, mind like Mu Shin, mind like water. Let it flow out. Sometimes you have to do that. So when you get into dust-ups or anything like that, then see it for what it is. It's Leela, it's divine play. It's you're swimming around in the soup and you're having fun with other people. It's like swimming in a pool, and having fun with other people. You can't look at it as, you have to look beyond, hey, that guy's telling me what to do, or we don't have the same belief system, or we don't have, man, what is that shit? It's exactly what I'm just talking about here. It's nothing. It's bullshit. Kindred beings exist in the universe. And by kindred, I mean, yes, I experience everybody, but once in a while, boom, you'll hit onto an energy that is like, seems to be more matched up with yours at that moment, or on the same wavelength, or on the same journey, or on the same level, or on the same dimension or interdimension. In other words, that person is in an evolutionary journey through this soup, just like you are, and you both reach this same point, and you connect. Okay, I'm still looking for a woman like that. I'll have I think it'll take me maybe 2-3 lifetimes. Got to have a sense of humor here, right? But no, you can experience this with all kinds of people, right? Because we're all transcending through these lifetimes, right? And we were all a bunch of different people. Okay, who knows how many? And of all different sexes and races and whatever. Well, I guess there's only 2 sexes, but all different races and whatever, And yeah, speaking of sexes too, that's all an energy thing, Of course, we appear in different bodies, but it's all an energy thing, yin and yang, and we all have both of those energies in us. Just a talking point there that I've talked on before, and realization of that too. Yeah, so here we are, twiddling our thumbs in the cosmic joke. You know? Sometimes you go, what's it all for? The eternal question, the deepest question in the universe, what's it all for? And people will come up with a number of answers depending on their belief systems. Okay. So when you say, what's it all for, you have to go, really, what's it all for? Not, according to my belief system, this is what it's all for. No, you have to go beyond that into really, what's it all for? Which is on a much higher level than any belief system. And you get, as when you go into altered states of consciousness or elevated states of consciousness, you get glimpses of what it's all for. Okay. And when you get these glimpses of what it's all for, which you may not even remember, it just may be a feeling, then the absurdity of all this shit going on and people getting into dust-ups and that kind of thing all just kind of seems rather ridiculous, doesn't it? So the best we can do is go on some kind of like, see, even morals, even when I say the word moral or moral authority, that's nebulous too, because one man's morals is another man's immorals. One man's reality is another man's unreality. One man's good is another man's evil, right? And it's all because belief systems, baby, coming down here and forming this and forming that and getting fractionalized or factionalized. Those are monsters that we have to deal with. So in dust-ups, you're dealing with, you're both dealing with demons or monsters in a way, but they're floating around in the universe here. It's all, when you're having a hallucinogenic experience, you see thought forms and all kinds of stuff floating around. So then you have to get into the state of mind where you see things for what they are and realizing that having any kind of control over anything is subjective, kind of in a way. I will say that when you ascend, okay, and center and ascend and even commune with ascended masters or other ascended spirits, which Thunder does all the time, whether I want to or not. They come knocking on my door. It's a beautiful thing, okay? It's a beautiful thing because then you realize the entirety of the cosmos and the entirety of everything. And so you go beyond dust-ups, you go beyond belief systems, you go beyond spiritual. It's unexplainable. You die, you're reborn a million times. You see death and rebirth a million times. How can that not change your looking at reality? How can that not change you? So these are things that really are the topics that should be talked about. Sure, we can talk about the everyday mundane bullshit. Who's screwing who? It's almost like this is another thing too. Now, once you get to this point where I'm at, you see sacred and profane and all that stuff. It all means nothing. So you can talk profane, or you can talk saintly, or you can talk whichever way you want to talk, and it's just all illusion in the suit, man. And you know, it's fun. It's fun to shock people sometimes, you know. It's fun to challenge their belief systems. Like thou shalt not cuss. And you say, tough shit. That's how you handle that, you know. Because it doesn't mean anything anyway. Not in the scope of things. It's has whatever meaning you give it, you know. Just like human interaction and that type of thing, relationships and sex and all that kind of thing. Eroticism, love, romance, the different shades, man. Different shades of black and white, from light gray to dark gray to I don't know if I should ruin this video by talking about current world affairs, and I'm not going to, come to think of it. I'll do that in another video, maybe. It's not on the same level as this video. This video is, we're talking above all that shit, right? Generalities, yeah, we can talk about generalities. We can talk about how all this stuff that's swirling around us in this soup will make that question arise as to what's it all for. That's generally why that question arises. When you see so much going on and it's so chaotic and it's so... And this soup does tend to get chaotic, and it does tend to start swirling, and but is it really, you know? Or are you swirling it, you know? Or are you contributing to that swirling? Or are you just sitting there like a calm boat in a sea, right? Going with the flow. I don't know. That's up to you. And it don't matter. That's the best way, really. The best way is, like I said before, letting the world form around you, going with the flow, swimming in the soup, only not being attached to anything in the soup, flowing through the obstacles in life. It's all... If there was ever an answer to that, what it's all for, I'd say it would be to learn how to let go. That could be the answer. Learn how to let go of things instantly. That's what a true meditator learns. Once you meditate for years and years and years and take hallucinogenics and all that kind of thing, one of the major conclusions that you come to is let things go instantly. Let things go, period. But when you're involved in the soup and thoughts arise and it's disturbing, let it go. Don't give power to it if it disturbs you. Just look at it going, yeah, it creates a feeling. So that's our journey here, is to learn how to be in the ascended form, in the ascended frequency, the frequency of ascension. which then puts everything else into perspective, doesn't it? I think I'll leave it there today. Think on those things. This is Thunder. Always thinking about my fellow beings on the planet and in concern and oneness with compassion and love. Adios.